The cafeteria was buzzing with the usual noise of clattering trays and teenage laughter when it happened. Emily Carter, a quiet junior who usually sat near the back, was walking to her seat when she suddenly felt a sharp snap across her back. Her bra strap had been yanked, hard. The sound echoed in her ears, followed by an eruption of cruel laughter. Her tray wobbled in her hands, food nearly spilling, as she froze in shock. The boys behind her laughed, high-fiving each other, proud of their joke. Around the cafeteria, some students giggled nervously, while others looked away, not wanting to get involved. Emily's face turned crimson, tears welling up in her eyes. She wanted to disappear. But what she didn't know was that in that very moment, high above in the corner of the cafeteria, a security camera was recording everything. And this time, the bullies wouldn't be able to laugh it off. Emily had never been the center of attention. She was shy, preferring books and drawing over crowds and gossip. Since her father's passing 2 years earlier, life at home had been hard. Her mom worked 2 jobs, and Emily often felt invisible, both at home and at school. She kept her head down, hoping to avoid trouble. But avoiding trouble didn't mean trouble would avoid her. For months, Emily had been the target of subtle bullying, snide remarks about her clothes, whispers behind her back, the occasional shove in the hallway. But nothing compared to the humiliation she faced in the cafeteria that day. That night, Emily locked herself in her room and cried into her pillow. The shame ate at her, but so did the silence. She didn't tell her mom. She didn't tell a teacher. She believed no one would care. After all, people saw it happen, and they laughed. But fate had already started moving in a different direction. The cafeteria manager had been reviewing security footage, looking into a missing tray of food from the day before. Instead, he stumbled upon something else entirely, the cruel prank caught on camera, crystal clear. He hesitated for a moment, then took the footage straight to the principal. The next morning, Emily was called to the principal's office. Her heart pounded. Was she in trouble? Had she done something wrong? But when she walked in, she found the principal, the school counselor, and a police officer waiting. The principal's voice was calm but serious. Emily, we saw what happened yesterday in the cafeteria. We want you to know, you did nothing wrong. Emily froze. They knew. The weight she had carried alone for the past 24 hours suddenly cracked, and she broke down in tears. For the first time, she realized she wasn't alone. The footage was turned over to authorities. To Emily's shock, what she had thought was just bullying was considered harassment, and it was serious. The boys involved were identified and suspended immediately, pending further action. But it didn't end there. The police pressed charges. The laughter that had echoed in the cafeteria was now replaced with whispers in the hallways. The boys who once strutted proudly now looked terrified. Some students said it was too much. Others defended Emily, saying justice was long overdue. For Emily, it was a whirlwind. She hadn't asked for this. She hadn't wanted a spotlight. But the truth was out, and there was no going back. Weeks later, Emily found herself in a courtroom, hands trembling as she sat near her lawyer. She didn't want to face them again, the boys who had humiliated her. But when the judge asked if she wanted to speak, something inside her stirred. Her voice cracked at first, but then grew stronger. I was humiliated that day. I felt small. I felt worthless. And the worst part was thinking nobody cared. But people did care. And this, she motioned around the courtroom, this proves that it matters. That we matter. Her words silenced the room. Even the boys, once smirking and cocky, kept their heads down. The verdict was clear. The boys were sentenced, not to life behind bars, but to a punishment that would stay with them for years, time in juvenile detention, counseling, and community service. They would forever carry a record of their actions. For Emily, the experience changed everything. She went from being the girl who hid in corners to the girl who stood at the front of assemblies, sharing her story. The first time she spoke publicly, her hands shook. But as she looked out at the sea of faces, some sympathetic, some guilty, some tearful, she realized her voice had power. "Don't ever let anyone tell you it's just a joke," she told her classmates. Because when someone crosses your boundaries, when they humiliate you, that's not a joke. That's harm. And you don't deserve it. Her words struck deep. Teachers praised her. Students who once ignored her now saw her as brave. Even younger students started approaching her, quietly admitting their own experiences with bullying. By the time graduation rolled around, Emily had transformed. She wasn't the invisible girl anymore. She was strong, resilient, and respected. When her name was called, the auditorium erupted in applause. Her mom, sitting in the front row, cried openly, clapping until her hands hurt. Emily walked across the stage with her head high, her tassel swinging, knowing this wasn't just about finishing high school. It was about reclaiming her voice, her dignity, and her future. The boys thought they were pulling a prank. They thought it would get a laugh and be forgotten. But instead, it became a lesson that echoed far beyond their high school walls. Your actions have consequences. For Emily, what started as humiliation became empowerment. Her story was proof that even in moments of pain, justice can rise. And that silence is never the answer. This story is about more than bullies being punished. It's about the power of truth, the strength in speaking up, and the reminder that respect is not optional. What happened to Emily was painful, but it turned her into a voice for every victim who thought nobody would care. Because sometimes, all it takes is one camera, one voice, and one brave young woman to change everything.